Yeah. I know it's early. Um, it's good to see you guys. Those of you that are in here, and those of you catching the replay. Um, so creative renewal, yeah. So I'm getting some pushback, and understandably so. I'm getting some feedback as to how I handled having Jonathan Lee Rich's ex-girlfriend on here spilling the beans or whatever. Uh and you know, I'm getting a lot of pushback as to how I ended it. Um and rightfully so. Was I rude to this person? Absolutely. I was. I was. And it's nothing personal against them. Uh it was just as we were talking, I I was just thinking. I just couldn't stop thinking. I was like, this is not what I do. Um I got frustrated with myself mostly. I had a private conversation with this person prior to bringing her on the live, and I said, "You want to just continue this conversation live?" She said, "Yes." So we continued the conversation. But as this conversation continued live, I was realizing that this person was just an ex girlfriend, understandably so, bitter, didn't know why she made decisions that she made. She didn't understand certain things, and none of that shit is. And that was the point. Is none of it was my business or anyone else's. And I felt kind of disgusted with myself for even stooping that low. No, it's not creative renewal. It's not. It's not great at all. Um, this was just somebody who had personal opinions of this guy, and I was just trying to teach him a lesson. Like, dude, yeah, you can dig into all of our personal lives, JLR. You can dig into all our personal lives. We can dig into yours too. That's the point. We can all dig into your personal life just as well as you can dig into anybody else's. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't mean shit. It just doesn't mean shit. Like, why do you think that doxing somebody is somehow some way of being threatening? Because all it does is show how cowardly you are. That's all it does. And that's what happened. Is I got mad. I got mad that a fellow creator who has a wrench on my channel, this guy doxed yesterday. You know, didn't like the fact that this person was making videos about them, or about him. Sorry, he didn't like that, and so he blasts that person's real name out there. Uh, Takes advantage of the fact that this person doesn't want their personal life fucked with, and that's their way of protecting. That's his cowardly way of protecting himself, instead of just simply understanding the fact that you are subject to criticism by going on YouTube, and by doing what you do. You're subject to criticism by showing up to different locations and recording people without them knowing that you're doing it. This is going to put you subject to criticism, and then he can't handle it. So what does he do? He doxes somebody and destroys a person's request for privacy. that they can't just go under a creator name, be private, and expose things that is not personal information. It's just, hey, asshole, this is what you're doing. How do you not see that this is the kind of shit that you're doing? Which is all that this person did with their videos. So then somebody put me in contact with somebody who came off like, okay, they were like, well, you know, it's JLR's ex-girlfriend, and you know, she's not real eager to go live. But when I spoke to her, she was real eager to go live. She was really enjoying spilling out all of this personal information about their relationship. And I felt trashy. If I'm being totally honest, I'm sitting here as a host. It's really ironic too, because in the comments section for that last night's live, I'm getting a lot of feedback, and I understand that feedback. Don't get me wrong. There's even creators' feedback that I was just like, oh man, I feel bad, you know, that I might have disappointed them. But it's really funny how they're like, man, that was so rude. And yeah, it was. It was rude of me to cut her off. I actually texted her and sent her an apology. But I just had this moment where I was just realizing that what I was doing was absolutely trashy. I felt gross. You know, I mean, this is somebody who's jumps on a YouTube channel and just can't wait to talk shit about their ex. You know what I mean? And she was just saying a bunch of stuff, mostly that I already knew. We all already know. We know he's a racist. We know that he is a clout chasing weirdo. Like, we know all that stuff. Oh no, I'm not taking it down. I'm not taking it down. Because that would be cowardly. Because not every single thing that I do on this channel, people, is something that I'm proud of. Not every single thing that I do. But everything, I mean, but the fact is I was simply, my mindset at the time was, I want to teach this dude a lesson, you know? He thinks that he can intimidate people by digging into their personal life. I can have his personal life blasted on here. I could totally do that. But it doesn't change the fact that it grossed me out doing it. There's a reason why I never do that. There's a reason why I criticize people who do. No, he's absolutely dangerous. The only thing that I wanted to get to, honestly, was whether or not this person who lives with him thought that he was dangerous. But she also lived with him. You know, that's actually the moment where I realized that I was just like, I'm done with this person. Like she's talking about him being a racist, but the entire time, like, she's living with this guy and supporting him. You know, and also, and she even admitted to me in private, she was like, he doesn't, he's not she said that she didn't financially support him, that he has his own means of income, you know. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you know, but you're living with this guy, and he's constantly using the N-word, you know. But come on, like, you know, I always take hearsay with a grain of salt, because there are three sides to every story, people. His side, her side, and then the truth. You know what I mean? And then I was just listening to this person, and I don't have anything personal against her. A lot of people do the same thing. It was me. I'm taking full accountability because I brought her on. And I'm just listening to this person just spill out her feelings about this dude and living with him, and the one thing that I'm listening to the most and that I'm hearing the most is her need to want to be on a live stream. And she wasn't reluctant at all. She didn't hold back, nothing. You know what I mean? Well, the whole Trump fixation is whatever. Like, I don't give a shit about somebody's personal, political views. I honestly don't care. There's certain things, like if I hear somebody say, well, that person's also a liberal, there are certain things that make me go, yeah, that makes sense. That doesn't mean that I'm holding their political views against them. I know plenty of liberals that are very, very, uh, you know, well rounded, you know, mentally speaking, they're well rounded individuals. I know plenty of, you know, conservatives that seem a bit fanatical, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, they're well rounded too, for the most part. Like I don't give a shit what people's political beliefs are. You know what I mean? And yeah, if somebody explains to me, oh well, they are a conservative, I'm gonna go with certain things. I'm gonna go, yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, that's part of your personality, but it doesn't define you necessarily unless you allow it to define you. And this is a guy that I understand tries to define himself through his political beliefs, and his political beliefs don't even add up. They don't even add up. The guy himself just doesn't make sense. That's what it boils down to. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh well, this guy goes to Trump rallies, so that tells me all I need to know about him. No, not true. I know people who attend Trump rallies and are decent people. But I will say, when you see him all decked out in all of his Trump gear and you see him at a Trump rally, you're like, that adds up. That shit adds up. you know, but I don't, do I care that he supports? No, there's a lot of people I know that support Trump. Fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? Do I think he's a racist because he goes to Trump rallies? No. I think he's a racist because of the shit that he says and films himself doing at these Trump rallies. Like wearing a hat that says "Make White America Great Again." That's racist as fuck. And then he has the audacity to dock somebody and then accuse them of racism. It's so weird. Right. WJ Willow, he's just a troll. That's all JLR is. Somehow he got to a point to where he became glorified for it. It's the weirdest shit in the world. This is an asshole who made videos praising the Sandy Hook killer, claiming to be the uncle of the Sandy Hook killer. Had the Sandy Hook shooter's mail forwarded to his house under the claim that he was his uncle. That's insane. Okay? And then on top of that, the James Holmes things comes around. This is the Dark Knight Rises theater shooter in Colorado. Oh, it was James Holmes that the mail was forwarded to. Okay, thank you. I mean, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter which one it was. This is a guy who tried to make a name for himself praising these school shooters. This is a guy that I believe to be someone who is totally unstable, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's not actually breaking any laws that you can lock him up for. He's a male Karen. He goes around doing the same shit that Battery Betty does. And unless people are like sick and tired of seeing them just making noise, and if law enforcement really wants to put a lid on people interfering with their investigation, well, then they'll lock him up. But if he hasn't done anything to actually get locked up, guess what? You're just going to have to wait for him to do something that's going to get him locked up. And you know what he's going to end up doing? A guy like that is perfectly capable of just waking up one day and deciding he's going to get an automatic or semi-automatic weapon and shoot a bunch of shit up. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to sit there and go, I knew it. Because that's all we can do. We're going to sit around and go, I knew it. I knew that guy was fucking nutty. We talked about it. Claire talked about him on his live streams. And not a fucking one of us are going to be able to do anything about it. Hopefully, whoever he opens fire on has a gun, and then they take him down first in that moment. Hopefully. But in the meantime, this dude could just continue to make these weird, disturbing videos. He can continue to harass people, take people's gossip and then twist it and then report it as news. Like I could have done that shit last night. I could have sat there and used this woman. You know, I'm getting all this shit because I was so disrespectful to her because I hung up on her. I just booted her off the live. Right? And I'm getting all this shit about how I treated her. But you know what? I did her a fucking favor. Because I'm not going to sit there and play the same fucking game where you're going to take somebody's some person with an opinion that lived in your life at some point. Dude, that is the most cowardly shit in the world. If I go and I have some sort of dispute with you and I don't like you and what you say or do, and then I go and find somebody from your past and blast them on my channel and take what their opinion of you is as some sort of credibility, no. I'm just not going to do that. So do I feel shitty about bringing her on and then booting her off the way that I did? Yeah, it was rude. The way that I treated her was absolutely rude. So I feel bad about that. But she was loving the idea of just painting a picture of this guy that we're already seeing. So I just found myself just like I'm having a shit talking contest with it. It's not even a contest. It's just like I'm just sitting here having a shit talking conversation about somebody, you know, just gossiping about somebody. And I understand her need to gossip. And that's why it was rude of me, because I brought her on here to do it. I'm the one to blame. So yeah, it was rude of me to bring her on here and then boot her the fuck off once I got sick and tired of hearing her gossip. So was it rude? Absolutely. I should have never even brought her up here in the first place. I don't regret doing it because it proved the point. But it was still fucking gross, dude. It was just fucking gross. I'm listening to somebody go like, yeah, he used the N-word all the time. And I'm listening to somebody, I'm thinking like you were with him the whole time. You were letting him stick his dick in you. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit up here and criticize some dude for being a racist when you're fucking the racist the whole time. I get that it got to a point at one point where you got sick and tired of him and you left. I understand that. Great. Good for you. But I'm sitting here and I'm listening to somebody who's, because I'm like, what? How credible is somebody who dated that guy in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I was in the beginning of it. That's why it was shitty of me to even bring her on in the first place. Because, like, I'm like, why did you date that guy in the first place? Like, she knew his past. She knew, like, she knew exactly like what he was locked up for, why he was locked up, chose to ignore other things. But she chose to ignore those things. So to me, her credibility was shot in the first place. That's why I feel stupid for bringing her on. That's why I booted her off. But I booted her off also for feeling stupid for even bringing her on in the first place. That's my fault. And yeah, Cherry, good point. She was cool with it while it suited her. While she had a platform to be on a live stream on YouTube to trash talk her ex-boyfriend, she was happy doing it. You know what I mean? So, you know, was I rude to her? Absolutely. Is she a victim? Fuck no. Fuck no. In my opinion, not even a little bit. You know? Why? Because my convictions caught up to me while I was on a live stream and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? And she got the shit end of that by what? Getting kicked off and cut off? Okay. Sure. But really? The only damage I did was to myself. A disservice to myself for even bringing her on and doing something that I would never do in the first place. And then I asked people for advice, you know, and they were just, I mean, they were good, you know, they were like, you know, some were like, I would do it. Others were like, you know, yeah, are you sure? You know what I mean? And then I just said, fuck it. I ended up talking to her, and then I was like, let's just go live. Robert Berg, you can fuck off if you don't like what you're hearing. Hit the thumbs down and fuck off. And then fuck off again. Okay? I mean, you could look at it that way, but it doesn't change the fact creative renewal. I see what you're saying. I mean, you could look at it that way, but it doesn't change the fact that I just did something that I normally wouldn't do, and I did it just to prove a fucking point. I created content that I would never normally fucking do, and I trash channels for doing it, right? But I did it to prove the point. Like, to this is the same guy who uses the fact that he can dig into your personal life is some sort of method of intimidation, and fuck you for that. You know what I mean? Anybody can do that. The point is that anybody, no matter what their scruples are, I can find and dig into your personal shit and blast it all over social media. I can do that. I just don't. And if I really wanted to run with it, if I was trying to hurt the guy, I wouldn't be up here talking about this the way that I am. I'd be trying to sell it, not sit there and discredit the source that I had on here. Because people are looking at it like, oh my God, look at how you're treating the person that you had as a guest on your channel. Yeah, well, sorry. She's kind of a casualty in what I'm doing. And the point that I'm making is I can bring up any fucking, but I can find anybody in your personal life. That's not a difficult thing to do. You're not impressing anybody by finding out who somebody really is in their personal life. You're not impressing anybody by that. That doesn't intimidate. For some reason it does, but it's not a means to intimidate. All I did was prove that anybody can fucking do that. It's a cowardly, shitty thing to do. Anybody can dig into your personal life as a defense against what you do. That doesn't make, you know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily make me a threat. Because common sense people who listen to that shit thought the same shit that I was thinking while I'm listening to her talk. This is somebody who fucking, okay, all right, I understand. Yeah, he was a racist, we know he's a racist. But I couldn't get the thought out of my head like, well, you were fucking this guy the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you put your tongue in this guy's mouth. On the same mouth that spits out the N-word every fucking minute that you're complaining about. So how, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, let's get real, people. You know? Right. I mean, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna trash talk somebody that you dated. That's why there's no credibility in that. Everybody's bitter about their ex, dude. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is. Dude, my ex has gone on YouTube and fucking told the biggest lies ever. And YouTube creators spun it however they wanted. And you know what I mean? Crazy shit, too. Just total crazy, unbelievable shit. So JLR, like, I'm trying to make a point here. My point is anybody can do the shit that you do to intimidate people. Anybody can do that. I did it last night. Anybody can do that. But what water does it hold? That's somebody who just had a fucking shitty opinion of you because they had poor judgment. You don't think I've dated people that regret dating me? You know what I mean? That's happened way too many times. Dude, I would love to. I invited JLR on this channel, Charlotte Ann. when he doxed my family on Twitter, because he did that, by the way, when he doxed my family, I was like, dude, I would love to have you on my channel. I blasted him on Twitter. I said, I would love to have you on my channel. You know what his response was? I'm not going to give you the views. He thinks of himself as like some sort of like accomplished journalist, right? I'm not going to give you the views. Like, no, what you're doing is you're just simply avoiding, because I'll join anybody. Anybody's got questions about me, dude, I'll join you on your panel. You can ask me anything you want. I may tell you to fuck off with certain things. You might ask me something personal about my personal life, and I'll tell you to fuck off because it's none of your business. But it's real easy. You know what I mean? It's easy for me to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not afraid to be bombarded with questions about my personal life. I'm just going to tell you to fuck off, and it's none of your business. So why would JLR be afraid to join my panel? It's because the truth questions that I'm going to ask him, he's not going to want to answer. Is why do you think it's okay to dox people? He knows it's not okay, so he would never answer it. Therefore, he'd never come on my channel because he knows damn well that I'm going to ask him questions like this. Why do you think it's okay to harass a family who has a missing child with no evidence? There's no evidence to indicate anything that you're perpetuating. He wouldn't answer that. Therefore, he wouldn't even put himself in a position by being a guest on my panel to answer those questions. Because he knows what he's doing is wrong. He knows what he's doing is fucking up an investigation when the TBI did a live press conference and said that what he's doing, what Bullhorn Betty is doing, what all of these channels are doing, what Chris McDonough is doing, is interfering with their investigation. It has cost them. It's cost them. It's cost them resources. I mean, it's just so fucking annoying that I hear these people, you know, oh, Team Summer, Team Summer, Team Summer. And they're just spinning more and more misinformation. Dude, it's gotten to the point where there are creators that I actually respected in how they handled the Summer Wells case, and now I'm just watching them just milk it, and I don't even fuck with them no more. You know, I just can't. It grosses me the fuck out. Team Summer, Summer's Army, shut the fuck up. One more time, I'll tell you. You want to know who Summer's Army is? The law enforcement officers that are charged with the responsibility and trained in doing so in finding Summer Wells, finding out what happened to her. The investigators that are trained, that's Summer's Army. You need to be in support of that army. If you care about this child and you care about her being found, that is all you need to be concerned with. That's all. JLR, close your little mouth and let the cops do their jobs. You're not going to find anything that they haven't found. A, because you're a fucking moron. B, because you're a moron who isn't trained in that field. And C, because you're a moron who, because you're not trained in that field, are fucking it up for the people that are. Because of your First Amendment rights. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have your First Amendment right. Sure. Got it. We know. But that's not a ticket. That's not a purchase, purchase a seat in fuck things up. That's not what that is. You don't get to just play that card of, hey, I'm exercising my First Amendment right. It doesn't mean that you're not doing something that's shitty. Because it turns out, that's what I think. At this point, I think if and I'm not one to tell the TBI or the Hawkins County sheriffs how to do their job, but at this point, I'd love to see arrests made. I'd love to see Bullhorn Betty arrested. I'd love to see JLR arrested for obstructing an investigation. If you're going to go live, TBI, you're going to go live and hold a press conference saying that this is damaging your case, well, then there should be obstruction of justice charges, right? Or something to that effect. I mean, let's think about that for a second. Because now, I mean, we just heard them say on Summer's anniversary day of the day that she went missing, a year. We heard the TBI say that these creators are obstructing their investigation. Right? Okay. And we also heard them say that they have little to no clues. Right? They have nothing to go on. They basically publicly said, we don't have shit. We don't have shit. And a good reason for it is you shitty fucking YouTubers that are profiting off the back of this kid. Right? So, is it unreasonable for me to hope that there are arrests made? Like, if you don't have the clues, I mean, because I get it, because they're probably looking at it like, okay, well, if we start doing that and we start focusing on YouTubers, it looks like we're not focusing on Summer anymore and finding her. Well, no, this is why it doesn't look that way. The reason why it doesn't look that way is if you're saying that these YouTubers are obstructing your investigation, well, then arrest them. Stop them from obstructing your investigation and then move on with your investigation. I'd like to see these people locked up. I want to see Chris McDonough in handcuffs. I'd love to see that. Well, Robert Berg, the way that this works is I'm live. So I don't have anybody else on panel with me. So I'm obviously just talking. I'm not there are no others in the conversation, as you're putting it, Robert Berg. You must be one of those stupids. The stupids that don't look at the obvious. And yeah, you can fuck off too. Like, that's also it's also a very viable option, is to just simply fuck off if you're not happy with the content. Yeah. So I mean, I would just love, I would love to see if YouTubers are actually the reason behind why they are being, why their investigation is so clouded. Make example of the YouTubers. I that's what I say. I say go after every single fucking one of them. Go after the Dolly Visions, go after the Bullhorn Bettys, go after the JS for Justices, go after the Critical Ks, all of them. Slap them with fines, something. You know what I mean? Make an example. It's just so crazy, man. It's just so crazy, you know? Well, no, I mean, I don't tell people to fuck off unless like it's a logical, it's a logical, viable option for them. You know what I mean? Like, dude, how you feel or think about me is none of my goddamn business. You know what I mean? Like, how stupid do you look sitting in my chat and criticizing what I'm saying, or how I'm saying it? You know what I mean? Like, how stupid do you look listening to it? If you don't find what I'm saying interesting, why are you in my chat criticizing it? You know? And that's, I mean, I'm not talking about disagreeing with me. You can disagree. That's a conversation. You know, like if you simply are disagreeing with what I'm saying, you can express that and then I'll address it and I'll try to do it respectfully. I'll have a conscious mind of doing it respectfully, but I may not. You know, I'm kind of a dick. I understand that. I'm aware of this. Not another T channel. Yes, true. Thousands of false tips because of YouTubers. You're absolutely right. That water is delicious. So, off the subject, Actually, let me do this because I want you all to be able to remain anonymous. This is totally off the subject. It's a lighthearted, simple poll here. Because I'm gonna boomer the fuck out here. You guys are gonna be like, what? And you can answer honestly in the poll that I just set up because um okay, and it counts. All right. If you do edibles, if you don't actually smoke weed, it counts. Okay. So you have to hit yes. If you engage in tetrahydrocannabinol, if you engage in that in some way, shape, or form, that counts as a yes. Cookies count. Yes. Yeah, edibles count. Okay, edibles count as a yes. Okay, this makes sense. I'm getting kind of a half and half because I've got, I mean, it's at 8 a.m. You know what I mean? I've got responsible people listening right now. Dabs totally count. Yes. So the chat is like, hell yeah. Everybody's like being all proud. I put up the poll to be anonymous, and everybody's like, yeah. Which I think is really funny. And the poll is like the no is it's close. It's 55% no and 45% yes. But okay, so the reason why I'm bringing that up, no, I not another cheat channel. I know, like a lot of people, like it makes them paranoid. It makes them. I get that. Um, but I recently I purchased um a a pen. Well, actually, my buddy he had an extra one. I just purchased the cartridge for it. Okay, and this cartridge was $60. Okay, and I bought it like a week ago, and I don't know how much longer this thing's gonna last. But all I have to do is hit this thing. It's a vape basically. But all I have to do is hit this thing like twice, right? And I am baked. And it's pretty fantastic. Like $60. Okay. Now you take $60 worth of weed, right? Because that's just, and I watch other creators like Dolly Vision, right? This idiot will sit there and smoke blunt after blunt after blunt. And I'm just like, man, you are just wasting money. Like you are just wasting money. That's crazy to me that you could like smoke like $60, like a decent size blunt is what $60 will get you, pretty much. Like a big fat blunt, $60 worth of weed. That's basically that's one blunt. You know what I mean? You might smoke like half of it, put it out, smoke the rest later, but that's it. $60 bought me this cartridge. And this is news to me, people, right? But $60 bought me this cartridge. And even still, like when I smoke weed, I guess maybe I'm not that big of a smoker either because I smoke, right? But like, I'll roll a joint and I'll hit it like 2 or 3 times and I'll put it out and then smoke more later. But I'll hit it like 2 or 3 times and then I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't need to just sit there and smoke and smoke and smoke. It's weird. And no, it's not legal in Tennessee, sports time machine. It's not legal, no. Um, but I have my ways. Okay. I have my ways. Uh, that's why when people, like, sorry. Um, Jonesy, that's what I'm saying is dude, I hit this thing like once or twice every few hours. I've had this fucking thing, this one cartridge, $60 ago. And you know what I mean? It's been like a week. Okay. And all I got to do is just keep hitting this thing. And it's not gone yet. I don't know how much more it has left. I don't really know how these things work, you know? Uh, but I keep it charged and I hit it like twice and I'm fucking baked. It's fantastic. Jonesy, I don't get it either. And it's expensive, man. Like how different is that than just blowing down lines? Like, dude, you know how I grew out of cocaine? Like, I used to love to do cocaine. I lived in Miami. I used to love it. You know how I grew out of it? By realizing that I couldn't afford it. That's it. It's just like this shit is stupid expensive. It's not economically viable in the slightest bit at all. Like, it's super expensive. The high is not worth it. So, yeah, I'm just not doing that anymore. So, I mean, to me, smoking blunt after blunt after blunt, like, it's like the same thing, you know? It doesn't economically, it doesn't make sense. Especially if I get high, like, I've been smoking since I was like 15 years old. If I get high off just like two hits still to this day, you know what I mean? Like, that's not you not being able to get high and you need to smoke blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt to get high. That's not what that is. That's just you needing to smoke blunt after blunt after blunt because you have some weird oral fixation. It doesn't take that much to get you high. Like I said, I've been smoking since I was like 15. If it takes like two hits of good weed to get me good and high, why is it taking like 10 blunts for you? It makes no sense. Okay, Jonesy, that's the weirdest fucking thing that anybody's ever said in my chat, by the way. I have to highlight that. I feel awful when I smoke too much. I don't want to hear purple. I think you meant to say people, but like, I took that like the word purple bothered you, like you had some weird irk. If you get really high and then people say the word purple, they go purple. Hey, Jonesy, purple, purple. And it fucks you up in some weird way. Wait, no. Okay, so I'm right then. Okay. You didn't mean to say people. You meant to say purple. Weird. All right. Yeah, Jonesy, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so I mean, right. Going back to what this live was originally for, um yeah, people got a little upset last night, and I understand that. They were like, you treated her terribly. I treated her terribly. I want to be honest. I want to be clear. It wasn't the booting her off my panel that was treating her bad. That wasn't what it was. It was bringing her on in the first place. Bringing her on in the first place, knowing that all we were getting was just gossip. I used her to prove a point to JLR that I can get somebody from your past to talk shit about you. So what? It doesn't make it credible, you know? What do you think you're doing when you dox somebody? Like, what do you think? What goes through your mind? Because I'm going to go ahead and answer that for you. JLR or Bullhorn Betty or Molly Golightly or any creator who loves to dox people, right? What's going through your head is intimidation. You think you're somehow more powerful over them because you could put their information out there, and then a crazy person might go and do something with that information that you put out there. What you're doing is threatening. And somehow you feel like you're not carrying the responsibility because all you did was put the information out there, and what somebody chooses to do with it, well, that's on them. Well, no, because in your own fucked up way, you're putting that information out in hopes that somebody unstable will use that information and hurt that person. You're hoping that will happen, or else you wouldn't put the information out there. If you were concerned about that happening to somebody and didn't want that, you would do everything you can to make sure that that information does not get out there. But you don't do that, do you? You put the information out there as a means to intimidate, as a means to bully. And all I did last night was just show that anybody can do that. Anybody can find out who you are. So what? Why don't you do something more challenging? Instead of going out and trying to find out who people are and dox them, instead of going out and putting your energy towards that shit, why don't you put your energy towards doing something productive with your YouTube channel, doing something productive with your social media? Because I managed to be able to do it and not put people's shit out there. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Now, will I talk about the shit that you put out there? Because nobody caught these people harassing a family of a missing child. Nobody caught them on candid camera. You know what I mean? Nobody was like, oh, let me film this. I can't believe this is happening. They filmed it. They did it for the content. They harassed a family for content and put it out there. And then they get upset when we go over that content. They get all mad and butthurt when we go over the content that they put out there of them doing fucked up, horrible shit to, as far as we know, innocent people. Because as far as we know, that's what they are. As far as what this is all supposed to be about anyway, right? Are they innocent of being bad parents? No. Not necessarily. I won't go that far. I'm going to say it's none of my fucking business what kind of parents they are. I'm going to say it's none of your fucking business what kind of parents they are. But as far as what this is all about, which is the fact that Summer Wells is missing, well, there's nothing to indicate that they had anything to do with that. There's no evidence to indicate this. None. No matter what Chris McDonough's dumbass tries to tell you, there isn't. There's nothing solid. There's nothing even circumstantial. Like nothing. To this day, TBI went on a press conference and admitted this. They were like, we have little or no clues. But, a YouTuber does, right? A YouTuber has clues, right? No. YouTuber knows dick. As a YouTuber who knows dick, I'm telling you, no other YouTuber knows shit. I promise you. We don't know anything about this case. There's literally nothing. All we know is this little child disappeared. The parents turned their back for God knows how long, according to them, and then the child vanished. She's gone without a trace. Nobody has any fucking clue. There's no footprints. There's no nothing. 1 minute there, 1 minute not. That is what we know about the Summer Wells case. That's what we know. We hear a lot. We hear a lot. We hear a shit ton, don't we? But what we know definitively is that 1 minute Summer Wells was there, the next minute she wasn't. That's it. All you guys going to Ziggy's channel and you know, listening to all these fucking whacked out theories. You know what I mean? Like, that shit does nothing. All it does is get people thinking that they know more than they actually do, and then they start making phone calls to the TBI. Have you guys thought of this? Have you guys thought of that? You fucking stupid you sound. You have any idea? Picking up a phone, calling 1-800 TBI find, and then putting in some bullshit tip. Well, you know, I was thinking that maybe, have you looked at this person and this person and this person? Ma'am, do you know who this person is and how they know what you're talking about? Well, I heard somebody say on this YouTube channel, have you heard of Ziggy? She's really informative. Have you heard of JS for Justice? They're really informative. That's how I imagine these people doing what they've been doing, is calling in with these fucking stupid ass bullshit theories, to a point where the TBI has to go on with their spokeswoman live and go, yeah, y'all with that shit, stop. Y'all with that bullshit need to stop. We can't find shit because you keep calling us with stupid, dumb shit. Think about that. Like, everybody, no, it was so funny too, because there was that, I went over it, but there was like this footage of these YouTube creators that were in their car, and then they heard the TBI, they were listening to the TBI thing, and they were live and recording, you know what I mean? Like, they were using it as content, and and they're like, man, the only thing they got out of it was they didn't tell us nothing. They didn't give a shit. Like, dude, they did though. They did. They told you that they don't know jack shit and it's your fault. That's what they did. It just blows my mind, dude. They didn't share anything. They didn't let us know anything. No, stupid. They did. They said that your dumb shit has cost them the ability to be able to find anything out. That's what they said. And yet you chose not to hear that. That is so ironic. It's so ironic that a fucking shitty creator that does exactly what they're saying is the problem does not hear this and register it. They're like, oh, well, they're not sharing any information with us. No, they just shared a lot of information with you. The information being that you suck and you're costing them the chances of Summer being found. You're costing Summer her chances of being found. Stupid. They're talking to you. They're talking to you. Stop doing what you're doing. Well, they didn't share any facts because they're all sitting there. I love that shit too. Like, they're all sitting there just waiting. Okay, Don Wells has been charged. Candace Bly has been charged. Like, that's what they're waiting to hear. And that will probably never happen. And the irony of that, oh my God, the beautiful fucked up irony of that is if these fucking people are guilty, you assholes cost their chances of getting justice. You made it so easy for the defense. If one of these parents get charged, right? That's the fucking unbelievable irony of this, is if one of these parents get charged, if Candace or Dawn get charged, it's going to be easy for a fucking public defender, I would imagine, to dismiss that case. Because there's just so much fucking hearsay flying around. Dude, you know how hard it's going to be to find a jury for that case? You know how hard it's going to be for either one of those parents to get a fair trial? Just on that basis alone, I would imagine. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney. I don't know. But think about that for a second. I mean, I feel like common sense dictates it. Their chances of getting a fair trial, if they're charged, are fucking nil. That alone, in theory, could get their case thrown out. And it's your fucking fault. Those of you slinging mud at them and coming up with crazy bullshit theories based on no evidence. That's what you've done. Bullhorn Betty. You want them charged on something stupid, right? You want them charged on something minimal. You know, a low-hanging fruit charge is how you put it, I believe, right? Low-hanging fruit. Why not just charge them with, you know, child endangerment or blah, blah, blah? Because they can't fucking hold them on that shit. Don's already in jail. You don't think they would have charged him with something? The fact that neither of these parents, if they're guilty of anything, Bullhorn Betty, I'm talking directly to you especially right now. If they're guilty of anything, you specifically have made it more difficult for a prosecution to build a case against them. And now it's going to be easy because of assholes like you on the internet. It's going to be easy for their defense to get their case thrown out. Thanks to you. So if they're guilty of something, which you have no basis to say that they are, but if they happen to be guilty of being responsible for Summer's disappearance in any way, shape, or form, right? You made it that much harder for a prosecution to prove it. Thanks to your antics and e-begging. That's what makes this so fucked up. Because, like, people, and I've done it myself, I've compared this to the Chris Watts phenomenon, right? The Chris Watts case. And by the way, it kind of bothered me a little bit that she was so involved in the Chris Watts case and knew so much about it. This is a girl who fucking follows true crime, dude. And she wasn't fooling me with that shit. You know what I mean? But I was so rude to her because I fucking caught on to her bullshit. You know, I mean, she doesn't get respect because she was up there talking shit about JLR, dude. Sorry about that. But she doesn't. You know what I mean? Just because she's talking shit about her ex and that ex happens to be somebody who we all dislike, that doesn't earn her respect. Sorry. It just doesn't. And Bex, I think it's already there. I think it's already there. A cold case. Like, it's been a year and the TBI went up there. They didn't reassure us of anything other than we're still working on it. But they were like, we don't have shit. Thanks to YouTubers. We don't have anything. It's just so fucking ironic, man. It is just so crazy ironic that these YouTube creators did not take anything from that. They didn't hear that Don or Candace were charged, and then they were like, okay, well, they gave us nothing. No, they gave you a very, very important tidbit of information. That tidbit of information being that you are fucking up their case. Shut up. Stop talking. Stop making shit up. Stop letting people make shit up in your chat. Yeah, dude, when you publicly fucking execute people like you've done with Don and Candace, when you do that, like, you make it harder to be able to get justice in a courtroom. It's what people don't seem to understand. Why is it so hard for us to just trust what law enforcement is doing? Just let them do their jobs. Why is that so hard? I love the people with no training whatsoever, quick to criticize how they do their jobs. I love that shit. I mean, that's what makes what Chris McDonough does so dangerous, you know, because he actually has the training. But yet he's using his training as some sort of sales tactic for his channel instead of like applying that training to common sense analysis, which is like, okay, well, we don't have any evidence yet. I'm not going to form an opinion on these people until I have enough evidence. And just because you talk to them doesn't mean that that's evidence. What you did was make them less credible on the stand. But you can, though. You see, that's what's really ironic. I know it's about money, but it's so funny because if they were smart about making money, they could do other things. Let me humor this fucking douche. I know you're pissed at me. I'm not pissed at you, actually. I took a break and came back to your continued discourse. Quick question. Who exactly is your desired audience this morning? Curious. Well, you're actually among them in my chat. My desired audience is anybody who wants to listen to what I'm doing and gets something out of it, whether it's some sort of light enlightenment or just sheer bullshit entertainment. Whatever. Yeah, I'm aware of Frankie Ruchek Jr.'s yes, and I support him 100%. I support his endeavors. Because I don't necessarily, that's what's really funny is I don't necessarily agree with making laws that shut people up. I'd rather it swing the other way, where those of us as listeners, those of us as consumers and listeners hold a better standard for our content, and then we just refuse to actually give that shit any bearing or any you know any floor to hold under them. I don't you know I don't necessarily want to shut people up um by any other means other than showing them that nobody's listening. you know that would be the best way to shut somebody up, but that's in a perfect world, which we live in something far from that. But um so because it's the Rucheks and everything that they've gone through, I support their efforts 100%. I don't blame them for feeling that way. This is a family that has not gotten any peace. It's been 4 years come August. It's been 4 years since this family has had any peace. Yeah, see, hippiporium. I love that that you're saying that. But at the same time, it's like it's an open case. This is what makes it so. I was actually about to make this point earlier, and I made this point before, but um, it's a complicated thing because it's become like it's become as ugly as the Chris Watts case. A bunch of rumors and crazy speculation getting thrown around, and the family can't get any peace. All that stuff, right? But the problem with the Chris Watts case is that it's a closed case. It's already closed. All this family wants to do is be able to move on. All the Rucheks want to do is to be able to move on quietly without seeing their name blasted with a bunch of lies, and a bunch of lies about their family members who they lost. You know, uh, that's all they want is just that peace, and they've never had it in all of these 4 years. These people have never gotten to mourn their daughter, sister, grandchildren, nieces. They haven't been able to do this in peace yet, and it's been 4 years. And that's but the thing is with the Summer Wells case is that it's an open case. This is a child that has gone missing. We don't know where she is. We don't know what has happened to her. And none of us collectively, we don't collectively as a mass people, as a mass group of people, we can't collectively just come to the common sense decision, which is to let the law enforcement officers who actually deliberately made it a point to ask us to do, which is just don't trash talk and make shit up on social media. They asked us to do this at the beginning of this case before anybody even started doing it. They asked us to do that, and nobody listened. And here we are a year later. A year later. And they have to go up there and go, "Hey, man, we fucking asked you guys one simple thing, and you couldn't do it. And here we are a year later, and it's because of you." That's basically what they said. They can't word it like that because they're public servants. Wow, really? Wow. I mean, Yeah, that's a good point, Bex. Yeah, it's just really fucking sad, man. It's just really sad. Some people do really suck at being people. You're absolutely right about that. I feel like that too, laced in chains, Lindsay. I feel like that too. If it was a different time of day, that poll would have went a different direction. Yeah, no. Anybody who tags that child's name when there's no developments that are released by law enforcement, right? Anybody who tags that child's name in any live that they're doing fucking sucks, in my opinion. And I realize I'm throwing people that like I've been cool with under the bus when it comes to this. I'm basically telling them to fuck off, you know, like because I just my principles are something that I stand by before any loyalty to any fucking YouTuber. You know, and I don't and I'm telling you right now, I don't give a shit how cool we've ever been, how many conversations we've had. Um if you're tagging this kid's name and you're basically having a discussion more or less like I'm having now, because I'm not discussing any facts on the case. All I'm discussing is the fact that we don't have any facts on the case. That's all I'm saying. I'm still not going to tag this child's name in this video because I'm not sharing any new information. I'm basically talking to other creators. Like notice there are other creators, like reputable creators that have simply just not talked about this case. And even Annie, 10 to Life, perfect example, right? She's a true crime creator, a great true crime creator. And what does she do? She makes a post. She actually has to make a post in community going, hey, a lot of you are asking me because of the anniversary of Summer Wells and blah, blah, blah. But because of the fucking circus that the case has become, I'm not going to contribute anything to that. Nothing that I'm going to say is going to contribute. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to do this child any good, basically, is what she was saying. And I totally agree with her. That's somebody with common sense. Now, Annie is somebody of high intelligence. What I'm saying is that is a thought of just sheer common sense. It is a common sense thought. Like, no, there's nothing, there's no developments other than the fact that the TBI is going, there's no developments because of you. Other than that development, there are no developments. Just think about that for a second. Well, good grandma, right? That's what's really sad. That's what's really ironic, because it's now it's become fucked up to post Summer's name. You know what I mean? Like if somebody makes a simple video and says, "Hey, this is the information that we have. They were looking for a red Toyota truck at one point. That's no longer a thing." So, but this is what she went missing. When she went missing, this is what she looked like. These are pictures of her. Please keep her in your thoughts. That I understand, but nobody's doing that. People are saying find Summer Wells, and then they're trash talking other channels. Dude, look at the shit between Dolly and Savage. Now they have legit beef, whatever, but why? You know what I mean? In the beginning of it, like why? What started it? You know? And it just involves the Summer Wells case in some weird, fucked up way. Her name is involved in that beef between these two creators. Whatever. They have their beef for whatever reason. That's none of my business. I'm not criticizing them for having beef. What I'm saying is that somehow Summer's name is tied in it. Through like 6 degrees of separation, this child's name is tied in that shit. You know what I mean? Like, how's that right? You know? I don't even know who Jody Sue is. Who is Jody Sue? Because if I'm being honest, I keep seeing Jody Sue's name in thumbnails, but I don't click on them. Yeah, Jacob. I mean, yeah, we all know Dolly's a bitch. We all know that. Dolly's a fucking bitch. We know that. So this Jody Sue lived across Summer. And like that's the thing is this person, this is my point, dude. It doesn't prove shit. It's like this girl that was on my channel last night. I'm always going to look at these people like I would like if I was a juror, right? This lady's either going to have positive or negative things to say about the Wells. We don't know anything about her relationship with them. We're just getting her word on God knows what. Right. Perfectly put. Mouse for you to envy. Jody Sue is just someone who lived by the Wells. Perfectly put. That's all she is. It doesn't matter what she says. I don't even know anything of what she said so far, by the way, guys. I've seen her name. That's all I've seen. I don't know what she has said. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It doesn't fucking matter what she says. Her word means dick. Nothing. Unless she witnessed what happened to Summer and actually has information as to what happened directly to Summer. Unless she has that information, anything she says means jack shit. And I don't even know if she's a crazy person, Donna. I don't know. I don't know if she's a crazy person. Never listened to this lady talk. Not once. Never listened to this lady open her mouth. Don't even know what she looks like. Nothing. I've seen her name in thumbnails and titles. That's it. And I just haven't clicked on them. And people giving her a voice are contributing to the problem. That's more hearsay. That's all that is. That is more mud for the water. Anything that comes out of this lady's mouth on a public platform, on a social media platform, anything regarding this case that comes out of that lady's mouth is more mud in the water. Not another T channel? Of course they do, man. You know, of course they do. Because it makes for more content. You know what I mean? I just do not. I like I said, I feel like the responsible thing to do, right? Okay, like if we believe in justice, right? Even if we're naive and we're idealists, you know what I mean? And we believe in justice, the responsible thing for me to do, I think, is to think of myself as a juror, right? What is a jury? What is the purpose of a jury? Why does a jury exist? A jury exists because it is 12 people that are peers of the person who's being accused, right? They are they are a jury of that person's peers. So if I want to be a fair juror, right? If I want to be fair, I'm not listening to that lady. You know what I mean? None of that lady's shit means anything to me unless she witnessed what happened to Summer. And I'm sorry that she's suffering from throat cancer. I'm sorry that she is. If she is, I don't know. I've had to take care of somebody who died of throat cancer. I had to watch them die. It was fucking horrible. The chemotherapy alone. So my heart goes out to her. I don't have anything personal against her. What I'm saying is what she has to say regarding the Summer Wells case, as if she wasn't a witness to what actually happened to Summer, whatever she says means nothing. Right. And what the fuck was that, dude? Like, you know how disheartening that is, dude? You know what I mean? Like watching this dude like kiss his own ass because he interviewed a guy who slept on somebody's fucking couch. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like, think about that for a second. How relevant was Jose? Rest his soul. I heard he passed. But no disrespect to his memory. But I'm saying, again, regarding the Summer Wells case, okay, talking about the Summer Wells case, how relevant was Jose? Because I don't think he was relevant in the slightest bit. I don't think anything that he had to say meant shit. And honestly, the main thing about him that I found not credible was one of the first things that he says in that so-called interview was that he was committed for mental health reasons. That goes to credibility right there. Anything that that guy says, I'm taking with a grain of salt. From that moment forward, this guy was having a hard time with life and he was suffering from delusions. How is anything that that guy says credible from that point on? So, like, you know what I mean? Just that alone. And even if he wasn't, He's still somebody who was just sleeping on somebody's fucking couch. More gossip. More gossip. Yeah, and Kathleen Jennings, let me read your comment out loud. If people truly wanted justice, they would back off, stop spreading false information, and let LE law enforcement do their jobs. My husband is a detective and doesn't even share case information with me. Yeah. And you know what's funny, Kathleen Jennings? The interesting part of that is the main reason he doesn't share case information with you is to protect you. Plausible deniability is a great thing, but it's something that just covers your ass as far as safety goes. You know what I mean? If he gets in a pinch, my wife doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, what he does is dangerous, man. You know, like, God bless him. God bless him. Look at y'all with law enforcement dudes in your chat, like in my chat. Y'all got law enforcement dudes. Yeah, so to answer your question from earlier, Mr. Bug, that's the kind of chat that I want. That's the kind of audience that I want. Credible people. People who have law enforcement in their families. Smart people. Common sense people. That's the kind of audience that I'm trying to attract. Mr. Bug. Dude, do you think, I mean, I've been covering this case. Do you think I'm going to call? I could absolutely, I mean, he's a public servant, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you think that I'm going to call, even though I could, I'm going to call Sheriff Lawson. And I got half a mind to do that. I got half a mind to contact somebody in law enforcement working the Summer Wells case and ask them, like, please be specific as to how YouTubers are harming this case. I got half a mind to do that. But what stops me from doing it is, even then, I'm wasting resources. By making the phone call and taking the time away from a law enforcement officer to have to pick up the phone and put it to their face and talk to me, that's taking effort away from Summer Wells being found or answers as to what happened to her being found. So therefore, I will never do that. I won't. It's not worth the content to me. And it wouldn't even make a difference if Ronnie Lawson like got on TV right now and was like, listen, Bullhorn Betty, Jonathan Lee Riches, all of you fucking morons, assholes, have fucked this case up. If he just flat out did that on TV, they wouldn't get anything out of that. They would just simply be like, oh, we got a shout out. It's going to blow up our channel. Oh, Avery Shannon. Thank you, Mr. Berg. Mr. Berg. Is that Seinfeld? You guys remember Seinfeld? Remember that there was the guy who, and he's a writer for the show too. Actually, he co-created with Bill Hader the show Barry. but I remember his name being a character in a Seinfeld episode, and Jerry Seinfeld, his name was Alec Berg, and Jerry Seinfeld would be like, hey, Alec Berg, you got a real John Houseman name, Mr. Berg. Have you turned in your assignment, Mr. Berg? So I can't say Robert Berg without going Berg now. Just because of that Seinfeld episode. Mr. Berg. I can't take you seriously, bro. I mean, like, yeah, they wouldn't get anything out of that. Think about that for a second. Like if Ronnie Lawson or you know, and I don't know her name, really pretty blonde lady that was the spokeswoman for the TBI. God, I forgot her name and I feel bad about that. But even if she just like straight up was like calling out these creators by name, you know what I mean? They would not take the meat of that. You know what I mean? Shut up, Cherry. Don't do it. But they would not get the meat out of that, you know? And the meat being, you guys are the fucking reason why we can't find anything out about Summer. Stop. You guys are the reason. Like, they won't get that out of that, you know? See, I don't know, man. It's just so silly, dude. Like, it would just be silly. It would just be silly if it weren't so fucking sad. If it weren't so goddamn fucking depressing. Like, the thought of a missing child being out there, and God knows what has happened to her, what could still be happening to her right now. God knows any of these things. And law enforcement can't fucking use their resources because YouTubers don't know how to keep their stupid fucking mouths shut. YouTubers don't know how to fucking stay the fuck out of a town that they ask civilians to stay out of. Like, we don't want civilians' help. And they can't fucking stay out of us. Just simply stay the fuck out of a town. Like, and you're filming yourself walking around doing jack shit. Like, just walking around with your phone, like, this is Jonathan Lee Riches, aka JLR, and I'm out here talking to fucking nobody because this fucking person is completely, totally fucking useless, and I am a fucking investigator because I'm talking to a useless nobody who just happens to live here. Like, that's all that shit is. Hey, this is Bullhorn Betty, aka Andrew Griffin, and we're just walking around through a bunch of nothing, walking around through a bunch of bullshit that's somehow thicker than my hair. Doing nothing but stomping all over what could be fucking evidence, you know, with no skills, no background. You know what I mean? It's so fucking crazy to me, dude. And then the TBI has to go live and go, hey, cut it out. Stop. He was in the woods searching. No, dude. He had some dude look like a damn crackhead, like just walking him around all over fucking creation. Oh, look at this over here. Nothing. More nothing over here. Let's walk around for an hour and a fucking half at nothing. Dude, JLR is the most useless piece of shit I've ever seen. And like he gets praised. He blasts people. Like he doesn't even use, like, dude, he doxes people and he doesn't even use like a troll account. He'll just straight up dox you on his Twitter. He'll straight up dox your family on his Twitter. He'll straight up dox you on his fucking community. Like, it's crazy, dude. And people fucking support him. People are like, they like it. You know what I mean? People back that shit up. People are supportive of this shit. It's so weird to me, dude. Like, I mean, I guess my channel could be more successful if I just did that shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking easy. It's so ironic that Battery Betty uses the term low hanging fruit for law enforcement to use to arrest Don or Candace, right? Low hanging fruit, go for it, right? Like, she goes for the low hanging fruit of YouTube, and she still can't get successful doing it. It's so easy. I could take the shit that she's doing and I could make tons of money. But there's a reason why I won't. It's because I'm not a fucking shitbag. But it's so easy. It's so easy. That's what blows my mind. It's like she's not even doing herself any good. Like, you watch somebody stupid like bullshit Betty, right? You watch somebody stupid like her, and it's like she can't even get successful going the easy way to get successful on YouTube. That's the easy way, is doing what she's doing, and she's too stupid to actually get successful doing it. It's really funny to me. All she's doing is damage. Like, she's not even doing herself any good. She's not even doing damage to where she benefits from it. She's too stupid. Go write Crude a letter, Robert Berg. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. I mean, I'm sure they're not happy though. You know what I mean? Good grandma. I'm sure. I'm sure they're not happy with his content. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Vintage Core Restore. Appreciate that. Like, I'm sure they're not happy, but I mean, but I feel like there has to be a couple of cops. Like cops have to be watching these YouTube channels. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Let's think about that for a second. Like somebody in Ronnie Lawson's office, it's their job to watch Bullhorn Betty and keep an eye on her. You know what I mean? It's somebody's job, you know, in either the FBI or the TBI to watch these idiots. Even me. I just hope that I could give them a good laugh. You know, if any of those, big shout out to any law enforcement officers that are forced to watch fucking YouTube because YouTubers are too stupid to let you guys do your job. So now you're fucking forced to have to fucking keep an eye on certain ones of us. But if you're watching me, big shout out to you guys. Sorry. Sorry that YouTubers are such fucking morons. I just, man, I just hope, man, that these cops are getting a laugh. If any of them are fucking forced to like, can you imagine that being your job? I had a friend, man. I had a friend in Miami, had the worst job that I can think of. Like the worst fucking job of anybody that I've ever known. And I remember he would never tell me what he did, right? I didn't find out until later through a mutual friend of ours what he did. But we would go out, we'd hang out, and we'd get drunk, you know, and he would just be like, dude, I hate my fucking job, man. And I'd be like, well, what do you hate about it? You know what I mean? Like, he would just be like, dude, I fucking hate my job. Like, I hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, he would get really drunk and then he would just get really like down, you know? And this guy's fucking job, dude, right? Was he worked for a porn site, right? He worked for a porn site that distributes just any porn, you know, kind of like Pornhub or whatever. I don't know exactly which one he worked for, but he worked for this porn site where he had to actually monitor the content that came through and determine whether somebody was underage or not and then block it. Like somebody's got to do it. You know what I mean? Think about that. Like it's no accident that a legit porn site doesn't have underage people on it when anybody can basically upload their porn, right? No, this was like 10 years ago. This is before OnlyFans. Um, but that was his job. Like he had all day long sitting at a computer desk, right? And sifting through p- porn all goddamn day. And then like having to determine whether or not a girl who's having sex is legally allowed to be doing this. You know what I mean? I can't imagine a job worse than that. Something that comes distantly close, and I emphasize distantly, would be a cop having to sit there and watch a fucking YouTube channel that they fucking can't stand. Like I can't even imagine that, you know? Nobody watches. The only like only a fucking idiot like Robert Berg would fucking sit there and watch a channel that they hate. You know what I mean? Only a fucking moron would do that, you know? But when it's your job, that's got to suck, you know? Like so there's either people who get paid to do to sit at a channel that makes no sense to them, right? Either they're getting paid to do it and it sucks, or they're just a fucking idiot like Robert Berg. But that's gotta suck, man. That's got to be terrible. Yo, the best shit in the world is like when you have a water bottle and then you fucking freeze it and it's just got this big old ice cube. You're drinking it because it melted just enough and it's got this big old ice cube right in the middle. It's Cousin Eddie, Donald Duck. I don't know why she got that wrong. Um, it's Cousin Eddie. Yeah, it's Cousin Eddie. And I don't know who the fuck she's talking about, you know. Like I watched Toast's streams. I was in her chat, uh, and listening to Betty talk about Cousin Eddie, calling him Uncle Eddie, but it's Cousin Eddie because I've seen the vacation movies all numerous times. Crimes and Fashion, absolutely. Like that's the thing about Betty is like literally everything that she does and says is wrong. How does she not see her own pattern? Somebody explain that to me, please. How how do you not see that literally everything that you say and do turns out wrong? Every theory that she's had, everything has turned out to be disproven. Yeah. If somebody argued with her that a fence post was standing still, she would challenge that and then double down, even though it's clear that it's a fence post and all it can do is stand still. Like, Betty, it's a fence post. All you got to do is look at it. Now she's a full on fucking lawyer, right? She went from being a paralegal to being a lawyer while not going to school on YouTube. While not going to school or a job every day on YouTube. Now she's a lawyer. Okay. All right. What? She said you can't. That's yeah. That's the whole yeah. Bake a cake with a file in it. Now I don't really know. I've been debating on whether or not I want to talk about um the Brian Laundrie uh notebook and the mom's letter burn after reading. I've been debating on whether or not I want to talk about. Maybe I'll do a live talking about that. I don't know. Um, uh, like, dude, and she shows up to this court hearing, right? And she tries to get the attention of the Petitos and the Schmidts, and they totally blow her off. Like, Betty, there's a reason why they're ignoring you. They don't approve of you. They're not impressed by you sitting in front of the fucking laundry house and yelling through a bullhorn. They're not impressed with that shit. That's fucking shitty, stupid, crazy fucking behavior, dude. That's they're not impressed by you doing that. Like, she fangirled the Petitos and the Schmidts at a court hearing. It was really weird. I mean, like, this dude is just like not getting anything out of this except riling people up in my chat, you know. Yeah, no, I'm happy to give these attention sluts attention. You know what I mean? I'm happy to do that. Robert Berg. Like, how it's so funny that somebody, you know, because I mean, I'm a big fan of a good troll. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of a good troll. I really am. But like, it's really funny when somebody like this makes themselves seen because they're not able to. It's like they've got piss all over them and they don't notice that they've pissed themselves. You know what I mean? They're the person standing there and making fun of people with wet trousers and they don't realize that their trousers are wet, you know, while they're like making fun of people. You know what I mean? Uh like Robert Berg is one of these people. Um because he's in my chat, and this guy, all he's doing, the piss on his trousers is the fact that he has nothing better to do than to be in a chat that he dislikes. There's no joy in his life. There's nothing that he finds fulfilling. This is what he finds fulfilling. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Robert Berg finds full. This is how he finds fulfillment in his life, what he considers a life. Mr. Berg. Right, Lakota princess. That's what I mean. Wet trousers, dude. You're just standing here with a fucking with 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 pissy pants, laughing. I find that really funny. Yeah. And dude, I love a good troll. It's just that this guy, he's not good at it. Oh, so Mr. Berg, you feel as though that I've gone astray with my content? Is that what you feel? You feel somehow cheated by the content that I'm putting out now as opposed to content that I did before that you liked, but now all of a sudden for some reason you don't like this content, and this is what you're doing. You're having a little titty fit in my chat about it, about how I'm not doing the old stuff anymore. Like, this is no different than anything that I've ever done. I mean, like, you realize how like bitchy that is, right? Like, you're kind of a bitch, dude. I gotta be honest. Like, that's really like a bitchy thing to do. Like, it really is to like come into my chat and like and throw a single man protest over the content. because you just don't approve. Answer the question, please. When are you going to go back to the old stuff? Dude. Cherry's got the pine anal for all you butt hurts. Okay. All you guys. Yeah, they're still up. Yeah, those lives are still up, man. You know. I mean, but why would you go with a name like Robert Berg? You know? Unless you want to hear me pronounce it that way. Like purposely, you're just like, I'm gonna go with Berg because I want to hear the Glare say Berg. Like, yeah, all my old shit's up, dude. All my old shit is up. You can go fucking, you can go mess around in in the good old days. The good old days of the Glare. I was thinking about that. Should I start referring to myself as a third person now? Like I heard a couple other YouTubers do it recently, and I'm like, man, that's tight. The Glare is going to start doing that from now on. Glare is going to start referring to himself as the third person. Fuck yeah. The Glare doesn't need people like Robert Berg. This dude, man. Dude. Cherry, don't be mad at the Glare. Don't be mad at the Glare. The Glare is going to do it. Okay? Just be glad the Glare doesn't write in hashtags all the time. Okay? No, I couldn't bring myself to be that fucking pretentious. I could never do that. I don't, yeah. I don't have the confidence to be that pretentious. The Glare. The Glare is not gonna do that. The Glare is humble. Sound like an idiot. No, the Glare is not upset. I actually did that one by accident. I was just reading your comment out loud. Yeah, so I get it, man. You know, I got a lot of comments on my last night's live when I had this girl on, Angela, I believe her name is. And you know, I mean, like, yeah, was it rude to cut her off? Sure, but I just have a lack of patience for that kind of shit. It was rude of me to even bring her on in the first place. I just wanted to prove a point. Um, and and the point being, you know, yeah, anybody can go for that low hanging fruit, Jonathan Lee Riches. Anybody can go after your past and we can talk shit about you, but logical people, it doesn't mean shit to. You know what I mean? Like, only facts matter. And the facts are that you did prison time for just basically being a total douchebag. You did 10 years. Like, the judge gave you the max for whatever you were charged with, right? I mean, you're a mess. And yet, for some reason, you've built some sort of credibility on YouTube amongst people who are clearly a mess as well. Because I can't imagine anybody supporting you who has half a brain and is a logical person. I can't imagine that. Same with Betty's supporters. I'm just like, man, you must be stupid. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I just, yeah, I brought this person on, and then, you know, she just basically had nothing to say, just a whole lot of nothing about this dude's personal life, and it's stuff that those of us with any sense of logic don't give a shit about. Well, Cherry, I get it. I mean, she got her 5 minutes. You know what I mean? She got it because she was awfully eager to trash talk the dude. You know what I mean? To me, my experience, that's less credibility right there. That automatically. And then just stuff. I mean, okay, you're talking about how much of a racist he was, and you dated him for like a year and a half. You lived with the guy. You moved in with him. You knew he was in prison. You know what I mean? And like, she didn't try to come back, but and I got some some negative comments, and they were fair criticism. You know what I mean? It was fair criticism from the comments I got. But I mean, uh, yeah. I at the end of the day, it's a question of whether or not it was fair or right for me to bring her on my channel. Um, was it fair to use her the way that I did? Not really. Not really. Um, but at the same time, I don't feel guilty about it considering what she was willing to do. I don't feel guilty about that because she was willing to sit up there and discuss someone's personal background because she didn't like the fact that she didn't like the way the relationship went and ended. That's not shit that I fucking think holds any credibility. Like she was just enjoying it too much. So that's why I don't feel guilty about doing it. You know, that's why I don't feel guilty about using her the way that I did. Michelle Macklin, thank you. I feel the same way. You know, I mean, it just right. Yeah, she wasn't credible at all. Okay, Robert Berg, please go ahead, take a break, come back when you're ready, because we know that you can't put this down for whatever reason. But sure, go ahead, go regroup, and then come back to the channel that you hate so much and the stream that you hate so much. But yeah, go ahead, take a break, come on back. We'll be waiting for you, buddy. Poor Bob. I mean, yeah, it's really funny, dude. Like, I love dudes like this. Like, that's a fucking dude. This is right here tells you people who call me sexist and they're like, oh, he's a misogynist, he hates women. Ah. No, it just usually the people who act like this turn out to be women because I have a 90% female demographic. That's why. It's not because women are women and women act a certain way. No, this dude is proof that just being a bitch is being a bitch. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with that at all. Poor Bob. Bobby Berg. Poor Bobby. Just breathe, bro. Just breathe. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'm going to be here for you, buddy. I'm going to be here for you because I know you can't get enough. You can't turn me off. Thank you, True Crime Addict. Okay. Anybody else like to share what they're currently doing at the moment? Keep it PG, please. Or PG 13 at least. Let me see. What do you have to say? Anything about her accusations of you being drunk and rude to her? Anything in your comments? Was I drinking last night? Yeah, I was. But that had nothing to do with my feelings about it, as you can see by this live stream itself. You know, yeah, like my actions were not alcohol fueled. If that's what you want to imply here, that wasn't the case. Um, uh, I did not like. I didn't like her enthusiasm. You know, her enthusiasm concerned me. No, I mean, that's okay for her to claim that. It's not like it's untrue. I was rude to her. And yes, I was drinking, but I wasn't rude to her because I was drinking. I was rude to her because of the reasons that I've stated in this live. Um, I just got the feeling that she enjoyed talking about him like that. You know what I mean? That's what bothered me. She enjoyed talking about him like that. Like that tells me something about her in that relationship. Like if we're gonna break it down, right? So I had her on here to talk about her relationship with JLR, right? Okay, fair enough, right? But what makes her credible in that sense? Let's think about that for a second. Because the way that I see it, somebody who was enjoying talking so badly about him, what does that say about that person in that relationship? Since we're talking about their relationship, isn't it fair to kind of to examine her if she's talking about, we're only hearing the one side of that relationship, right? A relationship that's nobody's fucking business in the first place. That's what I regret about doing it. You know, I just did it to prove a point, and then it got to a point to where I felt dirty. You know what I mean? And if I'm going to apologize for anything, I'm going to apologize for even bringing her on in the first place and doing what I did. Because that's not the kind of content that I normally want to engage in. But I did it to prove a point. Like all of this shit that people are doing, all of this mudslinging and shit, what is it doing to help find Summer? Like, yeah, I mean, was it to discredit him? Sure, but I mean, I didn't need her help to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need her help to do that. I didn't need her testimony to discredit this guy. And she was just giggling and just having a good time trash talking her ex. You know what I mean? Any ex that you ever come across that does that shit about me, I promise you they were awful. I promise you that they were horrible to be in a relationship with. Right, Michelle, exactly. He discredits himself every day. I don't need her to discredit him. That was just trash content just to prove to him, hey, anybody can do what you do, dude. Stop it. But I'm telling you, I take everything that she said with a grain of salt because of how enthusiastic she was to talk trash about this dude that she told that she loved every day. You know what I mean? What does that say about them? You'll never hear me bring up an ex and just trash them, dude. The only time I've ever even come close to that is when one of my exes, a horrible, horrible person, decided to use YouTube in this same manner, and I had to defend myself against them. That's it. That's it. But you'll never ever any other ex-girlfriend, I will never sit up here and be like, "Oh my god, she did this, she did that." One of them could start a YouTube channel tomorrow, and I'm just like, good for them. You know what I mean? I'm happy for them. I have no desire to go after them. What does that say about somebody who goes out of their way to have the desire to go after somebody? You know what I mean? Oh my God, this person happens to be on YouTube. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm their ex and I'm just going to tell them everything about him. You know, I don't have any exes that I feel the need to do that. Right. Because I'm just not this, you know, I'm not this spiteful fucking shitty person. She was like, sure. Yeah, I'll talk about him. Yeah. Yeah, like I was just talking to a gossip girl, you know? That's that's just somebody. Dude, while she was talking, I got up to piss twice. Nobody even knew. Until she started going hello, hello, and then I was like, fuck, and I had to run back to the mic and be like, yeah, I'm here. But yeah, like I got up to piss twice because like I was just like I didn't give a fuck about what this lady was saying. I mean, I get she took the time. I acknowledge the fact that she took the time to be on my channel. She didn't know what was on my mind uh, when she agreed to come on here. You know, so yeah, she agreed to come on here, and then I just fucking rudely booted her off. But I couldn't take another second of it. I was like that annoyed, and I was more annoyed with myself, if I'm being honest. I was annoyed with myself because I was like, I'm doing this to prove a point, and I don't like doing it. These knees, you're right. You're right. I'm not denying that. I'm acknowledging that, you know. Um, I'm just giving a reason as to what my frame of mind was like at the moment. I just got frustrated and I just booted her. You know what I mean? Like I just did. I'm not I'm not making any excuses for that. It was rude, but I mean, okay, you can judge me for being a rude person. That's fair. I'll take it. I'm not proud of it. I mean, I could have just booted her, or I could have said what was on my mind, which would have been much more rude. Some would think, you know, or I could have just kept the act going and been like, hey, well, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. And then hung up with her, in a in a polite manner. I could have done that, sure. It would have been fake though if I did. So you decide what would be better. You know what I mean? What would the right thing to do be? You decide. And then you can judge me based on that. That's up to you. And how you feel is none of my fucking business. You know what I mean? But you can judge me based on that. Like, was it rude to just boot her off? Or was it less rude than keeping her on and being like, I think you're completely and totally some bitter fucking ex, and I'm ashamed of myself for even fucking bringing you on here, and just ripped her to shreds, which, you know what I mean? So you decide which one, should I have been fake? You know what I mean? Should I have been fake and been like, hey, thanks for coming, just for the sake of being polite? That's a fair judgment too. You know what I mean? That's up to you. That's up to you. I mean, I will admit that it was not polite. I will admit that. I'm just saying, was it justified? Was my lack of politeness justified? I'm going to say no. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say it was not justified, because it was me who invited her on the channel. It was me that reached out to her, and I invited her up. So based on that, she deserved a polite sending off. So I'll go ahead and say that that's how I feel about it. However you feel about it is your business too, and you're welcome to tell me in comments and whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not going to shut off the comments. I love this. Just hanging out with you guys and just talking. God, and it's just taking so long. Like I'm building kind of like a studio kind of thing, and it's just not finished yet visually. Uh, visually, it's not finished yet, and before I go on camera, I want to have that stuff. Before I start going into the new content, I want to have that stuff set up. And it's just taking forever. Like, you know, yeah, it's a matter of money, but it's also a matter of like, I order shit and then it takes forever, you know. And I ordered this one thing, and I'm about to trash talk this site. I'm going to use my platform to trash talk them at some point, probably, just not yet. And give them a chance to either get the shit here or give me my money back. But I contacted, it's the most horrible customer service, man. I ordered this one thing for it, and I sent them an email because at no point did it give like an ETA, right? Like if you order something from Amazon or Walmart to be delivered, right, from those websites, like they'll tell you it'll be like, you know, 3 or 4 days. You should receive this Thursday. You know what I mean? There was nothing like that when I ordered this thing, and it's obviously like a site that, like, you know, any asshole from their garage, you know what I mean, could have this business, you know, like a t-shirt company or whatever, right? And this is definitely a mom and pop little garage like website type thing that these people have. But I emailed them and was like, yeah, I was just wondering if I could get an ETA on my order. And they're like, yeah, I just reviewed your order and it's in production. Okay, but that's okay, still. Okay, because like when you walk into a pizza joint and you order a pizza, right? They tell you, all right, we'll get that in the oven for you. It'll be about 15 minutes. They give you a time, even though it still has to go through the production of being made, right? They're going to give you a time to expect it. That's all I've been asking for. Like, I'd like to know when I'm going to receive this thing that I ordered from you. And so they're like, nah, it's in production. All right, but that's not what I asked. So I emailed them again, and then they were like, yeah, thank you for your email. We reviewed your order and it's in production. And then I was like, dude, you know what? Just give me my money back. I emailed them back, said, just give me my money back. And they totally ignored me. So now I'm just sitting here like an asshole, like a knob, waiting for either a reply or this package to come into the mail. Sam, she was not rude. I was rude. She was not. Um, she just rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like her. If I'm being honest. Sarah too. I know you're behind. The detectives don't mind YouTubers. It's the ones calling in the tip when they hear someone's theory. No, you're half right, but you're missing the big picture. The detectives do mind those YouTubers who spin unfounded theories and irresponsible speculation, because what that does is that inspires idiots that listen to call to the tip lines. So that's why they don't like the YouTubers. That's why they have asked them to stop doing what they've been doing as far as social media goes. They said social media creators. It's just, oh God, yeah, like Bex, exactly. That's the problem. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. Um, yeah, you know, they're getting too many calls, and that's the problem, that people don't understand this. Like, when it comes to 1-800 TBI find, that tip line, okay, if you call and you give a bogus tip, they have to follow up on it. They can't assume that tips, they can't afford to assume that a tip is bogus, even though all of their tips that they've gotten have been bogus so far, right? But they can't afford Summer, I should say, Summer Wells, the 6-year-old little missing girl, cannot afford for law enforcement to not cover every single tip. And that takes resources. That takes resources. So they have to follow up. So what you can do to contribute is something very simple. What everybody here in this chat with common sense does is we don't call them with tips because we don't know anything. We don't call them with bullshit theories. We just let them do their job. We understand that they're trained in these areas and we are not. So common sense dictates to let the people who are trained in these areas to do their job, not criticize how they do it. Just let them do it. And yeah, of course, you know, putting her name out there and her information. You know what I mean? Like, we can do that. That's responsible, you know? The truth is I could tag Summer Wells' name in this live stream and it would be justifiable. But I'm not going to, because to some degree it's still like, you know what I mean? I haven't shared any new information, you know? But I'm also not saying anything that I haven't said 100 times, and every time that I've said it, I've never tagged Summer's name. I only tag Summer's name when there's an update, when the TBI or somebody does an interview or a press conference. because if I'm not strictly a crime creator, but I cover crime cases, and that's part of my content. And when I cover a case, I'm going to monetize it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trashing anybody for actually covering Summer's case. It's good to keep the information out there. But what you're doing when you're just tagging your name and you're having these feuds with other creators, well, then that's not benefiting Summer in any way, shape, or form. And I could justify that shit too, man. I could sit up here and be like, you know what? I'm tagging Summer's name so that it's clickbait, so that I get more people's attention and more people hear what I have to say about how shitty what you're doing is. I could do that, but no, that's no. The truth is I want to attract the people that want to hear what I have to say. That's it. That's all I want to attract. I don't need Robert Bergs in here. You know what I mean? I don't need, like, we're not doing anything good for each other. You see what I'm saying? I'm not helping you in any way, and you're definitely not helping me. So, yeah. Yeah, Chris McDonough's the worst. He really is. Like, he's the worst one. You know why he's the worst one? Is because he has the biggest audience, and he has law enforcement experience, so that somehow gives him credibility to his listeners. But the problem with that is they look at him having a badge, and they say, well, whatever he's doing is the right thing to do because he had a badge. It must be the right thing to do, without realizing the fact that what he's doing is wrong, because he's the one exploiting this child more than anybody. He's the one creating narratives, spinning narratives with no evidence. But people take the fact that he has a badge and, oh, well, what he's saying must be credible. He was a cop, must be credible. No, yeah. Fuck Chris McDonough. Like, seriously, fuck that guy. Um, I got no respect for that guy at all. I mean, I respect law enforcement. You know what I mean? I respect cops, ex-cops, you know what I mean? But because this guy's an ex-cop does not excuse him from doing the same shit that JLR and BHB do and MGL do. Just because he has a badge does not give him a pass to fucking do the same shit. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck Chris McDonough. I shit him. Yeah, he totally strikes videos too. Yeah, he's a fucking YouTube shitbag. Like, he's everything that's wrong with a YouTuber. He really is. Wow. Real Lady Justice says Chris M is so biased and prejudiced. Dirty cops are why we get wrongful convictions. He has his targets. He has his target conviction by any means for clicks. Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the lab was so fucking cowardly, dude. And people try to defend that shit. They're like, oh, it wasn't cowardly. You were being rude. How was I being rude? By asking a legit question? Do you think that wearing a badge excuses you and somehow separates you from the other YouTubers that are doing the shit that the TBI asked us not to do? It's a simple question. Like, it's a perfectly legit question. And then I got hung up on. And then he makes the video private. And then he edits the video and then posts it. So he can still get the monetization. But there's no chat. There's no chat. Yeah, ducking felonies. I did. I was even more respectful about it. I was even more respectful to him because I didn't want to give them any excuse to boot me off. I asked a legit question and it got dodged. Yeah, from what I understand, yeah, I heard Justice for All, Justin. I heard him I heard him say that that Chris McDonough got him Jose's medical records. Welcome back, Robert Berg. Welcome back. This fucking guy, dude. Oh, Real Lady Justice. I asked Chris McDonough. First, I asked him, did you watch the TBI's press conference on the anniversary of Summer's disappearance? And he said he did, right? And as we all know, the TBI had condemned YouTube channels that have been exploiting Summer's name for money and spinning false narratives when they don't have any clues, they said, right? So basically, they called out YouTubers like him. But his response to that was defensive. His response to that was defensive, and he just jumped to attacking Don Wells for being having SA'd his younger sister, which, yeah, that makes him a piece of shit, but that's besides the point of what we're actually talking about here. And so that's what he jumped to. And then I asked him, would you say that wearing a badge makes you any different than the YouTube creators that the TBI was referring to as far as disrupting their investigation? And then I got booted off. I got booted off, and he never answered the question. Now, if he had conviction behind what he was doing, why wouldn't he defend himself to it? You see what I'm saying? That's how you normally see someone for who they really are. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he actually got him or not, the Real Lady Justice. Just saying, that's what Justice said on his fucking channel, dude. You know what I mean? Like, he credits Chris McDonough for getting him in the personal information on Jose. Like, he totally does. So I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. Just saying. um yeah. I mean, that's all it boils down to. Chris McDonough is, I mean, when, like I said, like, you can ask me anything. You can ask me anything and regarding any of my content, and I won't dodge it. I will answer your question. You know what I mean? The reason for that is because I genuinely believe in what I do. I don't have anything to be ashamed of. Uh, I'm not always perfect, of course not. But at the end of the day, I take accountability for my actions. You know what I mean? Like, you can ask me literally anything about anything regarding my content. Regarding my personal life, I'll probably tell you to fuck off because it's none of your business. But regarding my content, yeah, sure. Anything you want to know, anything. So when you boot me off, when I ask you a legit question about your content and avoid the question completely, that tells me that you know exactly how shitty you are. That tells me that you have you are not okay with what you do. Because if you have to answer for it, you avoid it. If you believe in what you do, you wouldn't avoid having to answer for it. You would look forward to answering for it. You would have conviction behind what you believe in. So, Linda Fontaine, you feel okay. You like CM, you like Jays for okay, great. I don't give a shit if you like them or not. But you're saying, in my opinion, that I didn't have a reason to ask that question. I stand by my opinion that it wasn't called for. Why wasn't it called for? I'm curious as to why you think it was uncalled for. Why why is it somehow disrespectful to call somebody out on their content? Bee's knees, I agree. I feel, like I said, with conviction, that it was a very fair question. If he claims to be a law enforcement officer, right? And evidence is important in order to collect evidence to build a case that you're going to present in court to convict someone, right? That's your job as a police officer, right? Is to collect that evidence, build a case for the DA to use to prosecute, right or wrong, right? Linda Fontaine, it's everyone's business. It's everyone's business because if the TBI holds a press conference and the press conference, the audience, the designated demographic are people like us who want answers as to what happened to this little girl. What is happening to find her? What are your efforts? Why can't you find her if you cannot? Right? These are public servants. They owe us answers. So they generously held this press conference. And what they said was that YouTubers creating a narrative based on false theories and irresponsible speculation have caused their tip line to flood with bad tips, nothing credible, taking away the resources needed to actually get answers as to what happened to Summer Wells. You and I both know that Chris McDonough has done just as much as any of these other YouTubers, the ones that you don't like. He's done just as much. I asked him if holding a badge makes him different than any of those. That's a legitimate question because he seems to think that it does. His actions dictate that he feels that he is exempt from these responsibilities because he once held a badge. So, yes, it's everyone's business, Linda Fontaine. It's everyone's business because his actions are costing resources and making it near impossible to find out what happened to this little girl. Let's agree to disagree because you know I'm right. Sorry, I don't mean to be that arrogant, but it's the truth. It's not a question of arrogance. It's just the fact that I'm not wrong. It's just simple facts. Exactly, Cherry. He should be held to a higher standard because he held a badge. Exactly. Exactly. It is perfectly legit question. He could have responded telling why he is superior or more qualified. He is also full of BS when he says he talks to TBI. I know he doesn't talk to TBI. That's bullshit. Because TBI sees him as just another fucking YouTube creator. Guaranteed. Because that whole bullshit with Hunter, all mud in water, more mud for the water. That's all that was. And how many times does he go over the same videos? He'll go over the same videos, adding his expert opinion, but then he contradicts himself. He'll say one thing one day and then say another thing about something in the video. You know, when he went in there and filmed Candace's house. No, he shouldn't have. Like, just because the mom okayed it doesn't make it fucking okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people are missing. You know, he's not in any way involved in the investigation other than negatively. Oh, so now I'm a narcissist. I love it. Of course I'm a narcissist. Of course. Um, but no. Um, interviewing a 15-year-old kid, even with his parents' consent, it doesn't make it right, especially if that kid holds information regarding the case. He's damaging credibility to a possible witness. And being an ex-cop, he should know that. Dude, any asshole who watches Law and Order SVU can tell you that. It doesn't take a cop. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I love you guys very much. We will do this again very soon, my